she's so fine. Helluva blows my mind. Helluva lights my day.
What's good, guys? Today is Tuesday, July the 19th, 2022. This video is going to be in regards to the Kenneka Jenkins case, and specifically the Assistant Food and Beverage Manager for the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. Now, I know we have discussed the Assistant Food and Beverage Manager at great length, but I want to go back to his statement that he made to the Rosemont Public Safety Department's investigators or detectives, however they want to refer to themselves, when they did the interview in the parking lot with him. We're going to go over this. All right. On the early morning hours of September the 10th, 2017, Detective D. Coletzos, number 1459, spoke with Crowne Plaza Chicago employee blank, redacted, who is the Assistant Food and Beverage Manager, in the north parking lot of the hotel, located at 5440 North River Road in Rosemont, for a statement. So they call these statements, okay? The following is in summary, not verbatim. Blank related to me that he is an assistant food and beverage manager at the Crowne Plaza. He also assisted the hotel security at times when needed. He has been employed at the hotel since 2011. I then asked Blank to walk me through his day on September the 9th, 2017. Blank stated that he was scheduled to work at the hotel starting at 1400 hours, so 2 o'clock. He began the day like any other day and checked on food and beverage related issues. Blank completed paperwork for catering events and billing. Blank continued that he assisted Rosemont Public Safety personnel later in the evening and early morning with the search for a missing female in the hotel. Blank continued that he searched the back kitchen while patrol officers were searching the dock area and dock roof areas. Blank explained that the kitchen was originally a kosher kitchen, which had been closed for approximately 2 months as renovations for an upcoming establishment were being prepared. He first checked a walk-in cooler. He explained that there was a second door with a walk-in freezer. It was when he walked into the walk-in freezer portion, he observed a body lying on its side. He stated that he only saw the body's legs. At that point, he stepped out of the freezer to direct patrol officers to towards the freezer. When asked again, Blank stated that he only saw the subject's legs, but did not see the victim's face or torso. Blank was asked if anyone may have been in the kosher kitchen. He stated that again, it had not been used for approximately 2 months, as equipment had been removed as part of the upcoming renovation. Blank believed that a contractor may have been in the kitchen earlier in the day on Friday. It was not known if the contractor had secured the area before they may have left. Blank provided me with his contact information and stated that he was scheduled to work later on Sunday, September the 10th, 2017 at 2 o'clock at the Crowne Plaza, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He would be available if needed for any further information. The interview was concluded at 0224 hours. So here's what we know from this statement. We know they caught him in the parking lot, in the north parking lot, apparently right as he was getting off. So we can use our context clues and figure out that if he reports to work at 2 in the afternoon and he was leaving work at roughly 2 a.m., he's working 12-hour shifts, okay? It also says he was there to help the patrol officers in the early morning hours. All right, we can gather that much. I wanted to go back to the assisting the security when needed. That to me is odd. Unless he has a background in some type of security work, why would an assistant food and beverage manager need to work security at a hotel who has security guards that work there? That to me was odd. He felt the need, a detective, he meaning the detective, felt the need to ask him again, because it says when asked again, he stated that he only saw the subject's legs. He didn't see Kenneka's face or her torso. And to me, his whole entire statement is like he's passing the buck. He's wanting to put it on the contractor because he knows the contractors are trying to renovate that kosher kitchen so that the caddy shack can come in there. And so he threw them under the bus by saying he believed that a contractor may have been in the kitchen earlier in the day on Friday. It was not known if the contractor had secured the area before they may have left. Okay. Now, let's go back to reports 1 and 2, where they speak about the incident in its entirety. I spoke with PSO Walsh, who advised, while he was outside of the hotel checking the area near the loading dock, one of the hotel security members, later identified as Blank, came outside and said something to him, but he could not hear what he said. PSO Walsh advised he looked in the direction of Blank and saw he was waving him over. PSO Walsh said he walked towards Blank and he said to him, quote, "Scared the hell out of me," end quote. PSO Walsh said Blank looked scared and he asked Blank what scared him. PSO Walsh said Blank started to walk outside to the kitchen area to show him what he was referring to. PSO Walsh said he stopped Blank to figure out what he was talking about and asked him if somebody was in the kitchen. Blank advised him there was, and PSO Walsh asked if there was somebody walking around or if he had seen a body. Blank told PSO Walsh that he had seen a body. PSO Walsh said as they entered the doors into the kitchen, Blank stopped and just pointed towards the cooler. PSO Walsh advised he walked over to the cooler, opened the door, and advised the light was off, and he did not initially see anything. He said he then realized there was another door inside the cooler. PSO Walsh said he then opened the second door into the freezer, and the light was off inside there as well. He stated when he opened the freezer door, he immediately saw what appeared to be a woman lying on the floor face down. PSO Walsh said at that time is when he advised dispatch that he had located the female. He said he grabbed her leg to try and shake her awake when he realized her leg was extremely cold and hard. PSO Walsh advised he did check for a pulse on her neck, but could not feel anything and did not touch her or move her after checking for a pulse. Now, here's where I have a little bit of problems. This says, very first line, I spoke with PSO Walsh, who advised while he was outside of the hotel, checking the area near the loading dock, one of the hotel's security members, later identified as blank, came outside and said something to him, but he could not hear what he said. Okay, so who was it that went and got Walsh? Because if it was the assistant food and beverage manager, which capacity was he acting on that night? Because if he was the assistant food and beverage manager working for the Crowne Plaza, that's a whole lot different than being a security personnel working for Capital Security Investigations, CSI. They're two totally different companies. It would be two totally different payrolls. It's not like CPO Hospitality and F&F Realty. They can all merge together. They're owned by the same entity. I'm sure they have different tax ID numbers. But we're talking about a business that is completely separate from the Crowne Plaza. They just staff the Crowne Plaza with security personnel. All right. Then this person is waving him over there. He's saying, hey, Walsh, come here. Scared the hell out of me. PSO Walsh said that he looked scared and asked him what was scaring him. He said the guy started to walk in the kitchen to show him what he was talking about. And he stopped. He stopped the guy to try to figure out, what are you talking about? Is there somebody walking around in the kitchen, or did you find a body? He told Walsh, I found a body. PSO Walsh said as they entered the doors into the kitchen, Blank stopped and just pointed towards the cooler. PSO Walsh advised he walked over to the cooler, opened the door, and advised the light was off. And he did not initially see anything. He does not make mention of the assistant food and beverage manager walking over to the freezer with him. No mention of that. He's saying that he went by himself over there because the food and beverage manager, assistant, pointed towards the cooler. Now that we obviously know that's not what happened, because I'm going to show you on video in just a second. We've all seen it a million times. That's not what happened. Now, if they are speaking of the assistant food and beverage manager, not one single time did that man show any type of fear, intimidation, nervousness, any of that. He was cool, calm, and collected. He walked straight into the freezer and walked straight back out. Went and got PSO Walsh and walked right back in there again. His pace never changed. From the time he walked straight to the freezer, which is very odd, to go straight to the freezer and straight back, his pace never changed. His face never changed. He never wrung his hands. He never held his head. He never did anything. Nothing. He never jumped. He never did anything. Never ran. He never lost his composure. And that's odd. It's very odd for someone who says that they've never seen a dead body or discovered a dead body, what have you, to react in that way. He would not be a very good actor, I'll just say that. He needs to stick with his day job as a food and beverage manager assistant. But let's take a look at what he said after this. In his second statement, I asked him what his reaction was to finding the body in the freezer. He stated that he had never found a body and was extremely nervous. He thought that the police officer, PSO Walsh, number 1434, was searching the area behind him when he entered the cooler. When he noticed that he was not behind him, he had already located the victim and went outside of the unit to bring the officer towards the walk-in cooler and freezer. Now, we know from PSO Walsh's radio transmissions to dispatch that this assistant food and beverage manager was close enough to be clearly heard through his radio saying, whatever he said, she's frozen solid. That's what he said. She's frozen solid. We can hear him clearly say that. So he's close enough to Walsh to be able to, for that to bleed through in the dispatch transmission. And I will attach my video of that whole breakdown of the dispatch so that you can go back and listen to that as well. So not only was this man not demonstrating any sign of being scared to death, he went on about his normal day. If that had been me, and I know I'm different than every other person out there, if I had discovered a dead body at my job, a deceased person inside of a freezer, I would have had to have go home, or at least sat down somewhere for a good while. I know I personally would have went home. That would have been a done deal for me. That would have upset me something terrible. It didn't. This guy was unbothered. He went on about his regular workday. So, in all these almost coming up on 5 years, we have never found out who the assistant food and beverage manager is. Why is that? It's not for lack of effort. It's not for lack of research. There's a reason why this assistant food and beverage manager remains anonymous. There's a reason. I just haven't figured it out yet, but I'm hot on something. I spent 3 hours yesterday looking for this guy again, and I'm not going to stop. There's something to this. There is something to this. We can find out a lot of information about a lot of the employees that work at the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare, but nothing about the assistant food and beverage manager. And that is very odd to me. Extremely, extremely bizarre. So I just wanted to point this statement out because it seems to me he was functioning as the assistant food and beverage manager for the Crowne Plaza when he clocked in at 2 o'clock. But at some point in the early morning hours, he flipped over and became a security helper for CSI. Now you tell me where that works at. Who paid him? Who did he get a paycheck from that day? Was it Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare? Or was it CSI? It matters. It matters. And the whole him not going to the freezer thing, that's bullshit. That's not what this statement says. And that's the statement and the video that we were provided do not add up. Do not add up. So what else doesn't add up? I'm going to end the video on that note. Thanks for watching, guys.